Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast, Harley on the Headlines. Quick look at some of the stories of the day. Thank you. Thanks for being there. I really do appreciate it. I walked in here this morning. I thought, maybe I'm going to be talking to myself. Maybe nobody's going to be out there. Oh, my God, what am I going to do? And there you are. You showed up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like, follow, subscribe, and tell somebody about it, too. I appreciate it. Well, Platner is out. Thank God. Graham Platner, you know who he is. He's got to be one of the worst candidates ever in Maine for the Senate. He had no choice to drop out. He was one of the worst. Democrats finally decided, we're done with him. His own party dropped him like a glowing hibachi coal after credible charges of rape hit him. And the victim was one of them, a liberal Democrat, so they had to listen this time. The whole party is at war with itself, which is kind of good. I mean, it means that there are still some Democrats who have not lost their minds entirely, who recognize socialism and communism for the poisons that they are. Or maybe they just pragmatically understand that America is going to turn its back on them and the rest of the party if they continue to travel that road. It is clear Iran wants war with the United States. I think it's clear that Iran means what it says. It's radical. It's way out there. Some real crazy people almost went to the gutter there, but, not so crazy, stupid people. But they clearly do actually mean what they say. They want to kill you and me. And they plan to do that if they can. The U.S. announced it had completed its answering attacks on Iran after Iran had attacked 3 oil tankers and U.S., Bahrainian, and Kuwaiti targets. Iran responded by launching more attacks. And Iran's parliament speaker accused the U.S. of bullying and breaking promises and said there will be even more attacks. We're the bullies. It's the Revolutionary Guard Corps that's running this in Iran. They are the radical Islamists behind the radicals in Tehran. They have a huge population of public support, as well as a likely larger population of the public that opposes them helplessly. So again, it is clear. It should be clear to anyone, but it's clear. Iran gives no choice but to actually defeat them decisively. These smacking them about the head and shoulders and hitting them really hard on the wrist, that's not going to get the job done. Now, what that means is to go into Iran and destroy the Revolutionary Guard. That means actual war. It means American boots on the ground. Say it out loud. It means shutting down Iran's oil infrastructure, including demolishing Karg Island if necessary, or taking control of it, which will be more expensive in terms of manpower and time, until secular Iranians can step forward to run that government. It means carnage and heartbreak and pain. And here's why. Iran is an enemy of the United States. They've been saying so for 47 years. Are we not paying attention? Ever since the radicals overturned the Shah, they've been saying it. Ever since the women were forced to hide under their burqas and to forget about being free or even being educated. Iran has declared its intention to destroy Israel and to destroy the United States and other countries that think the way we do. They make no bones about it, even today, and clearly plan to continue to be the world's primary sponsor of terrorism. Are we supposed to put up with that crap? No, we're not. It means they are actual evil in the world, not misguided brothers and sisters with different ideas about things. They foment evil. They preach evil. and they do evil things and pay the freight so that others with similar twisted minds can do evil too. There is no peaceful coexistence with Iran's radicals, just as there was no way to peacefully coexist with Hitler, his forces, or his minions. His choice, their choice, not ours. We would love to live in peace. I mean, Trump's offering them billions and billions and billions of dollars, not only in rebuilding, but in investment and everything else to bring them into the fold of a successful world, you know? It's just craziness. We Americans are not spoiling for a fight. We never are, but we sure enough know how to do it. If President Trump will remove the bridle and tell the eagle to fly and the horses to run, we can be done with this. We've been hearing so many cases of illegal foreigners who have no right to drive, much less to drive a big truck on the U.S. roads, lawbreakers who've been running over Americans. We're hearing too much of that. When I say they have no right to drive, they have no right to drive, because one of the basic tenets of driving is very, very simple. You must be able to understand English, read English, write it, and speak it. If you can't read it, you can't read the road signs. Oh, my God. You know. So I want to introduce you to a big rig truck driver who's worth getting to know. He's been driving more than 70 years and hasn't run over anyone. Of course, he speaks pretty good English and he can read road signs, believes in driving safely, too. The story and some video from WHAS TV, Channel 11. Let's check it out together. I think you'll like it.
We'll release the brakes. Check our mirrors.
Orrin Asmus is anything but your average 93-year-old. He's been driving semi for over 70 years, something his fellow truckers are trying to help him get recognition for, as the oldest semi-driver in the world.
Cody just haphazardly Googled Guinness Book of World Records and found out that he could be a very good candidate for oldest CDL living truck driver in the world.
McLaughlin Freight has since submitted paperwork, photos, and documentation for Asmus and are awaiting further instructions from the Guinness Book of World Records. Asmus grew up in Audubon, Iowa. He says he began driving semi at the age of 19. The last 11 years, he's driven for McLaughlin Freight in Minneapolis, but before that is where the mileage really ramps up.
Pretty well knowing all the states except Alaska and Hawaii. I never trucked there, but I trucked in every one.
He says he's driven over 5 million miles in his over 70 years in the cab of a semi, his first haul being livestock in the 1950s.
The guy that shelled the corn at that time, he didn't have combines, said, "My son's sick, you got to go to Chicago." And I took a load. Never driven a semi before in my life. Took a whole load of livestock to Chicago, no interstates, 6 and 30 all the way to Halstead Street to the stockyard.
Asmus says he's driven all kinds of trucks, Peterbilt, Max, and International, just to name a few. He's worked for several trucking companies, including an over 10-year stint with Walmart.
I put 1 million safe miles on with Walmart, and I drove an International at that time. And now I'm driving a Peterbilt. 1 week I get a nice award and a watch and a bonus. And
with trucking taking him all over the country, Asmus has a few stories, including driving through the LA riots in the 1990s.
It was bad. They shot a hole right through the stack. So I had a pretty powerful rifle. But just as I'm going down the street, about a block ahead of me, they set off a gas station. It actually exploded and burned.
In addition to trucking, Asmus also managed an oil field for a few years before returning to the cab. He says in all of his years on the road, one of the things that have changed the most are the roads themselves.
First is the speed limit. A lot of interstates now, a lot of 4 lanes that are not interstates, but they're 4-lane roads. But the traffic, I mean, Our traffic has went up terrible. I mean, there's a lot of trucks and there's a lot of cars out there.
In his 7 decades on the road, the trucks have changed too. From no sleeper or air conditioning to now automatic transmissions and cruise control. He says he's enjoyed traveling in the trucks, comparing it to those who enjoy golf. He says if he were to hold a world record, it would be the cherry on top.
It'd be good for my grandkids to say, Grandpa was the oldest one.
Hats off to Mr. Asmus, 93 years young and still driving strong. I got to tell you about an outstanding and supremely depressing article in The Atlantic magazine that you should read. You should read that magazine, actually. If you still do read. If you can read. If you find pleasure in reading. Because that's what the article is about. The fact that Americans, most Americans, are no longer readers. I want to read to you a couple of paragraphs from the story written by Rose Horowitz, or Horowitz, I'm not sure which. Rose Horowitz, I think, titled, "The End of Reading is Here." The darkness is gathering again. Americans, once members of a proudly literate society, read much less than they used to. According to the National Endowment for the Arts, which conducts the most comprehensive survey of the nation's reading habits, fewer than half of all adults reported having read a book of any kind in 2022. Only 38% read a novel or short story. A study analyzing 236,000 responses to the American Time Use Survey found that the proportion of Americans who read for pleasure on any given day fell from 28% in 2004 to 16% in 2023. The study looked at people who had read a book, magazine, or newspaper, listened to an audio book, or read an e-book. Gambling has become a more common leisure activity than reading a book. Last year, 57% of Americans placed a bet. The decline in reading cuts across age groups, gender, and education levels. Even the demographics that traditionally read the most, retirees, women, and college graduates, have seen a collapse. The books that people do read are simpler than they used to be. New York Times bestsellers today have sentences that are about 1/3 shorter than they were a century ago. Longer sentences are not inherently better, but their former ubiquity suggests an age when Americans had the inclination and ability to read serious works of literature. That is a shocking alarm bell. And you have to wonder if we have enough literate parents left who can save the day, or teachers who will demand assignments that require actual reading and critical thinking, who will help to cultivate the joys of reading a good book. It matters. Books are where you find the kind of depth of character and idea and story that you can swim in. And don't tell me I read all the time on my computer. That's not the same thing. Diary of a Wimpy Kid just can't compete with Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer or any novel Mark Twain ever wrote. And for you adults, I highly recommend anything by James Lee Burke and a long, long list of other writers who spend months, without artificial intelligence assistance, by the way, finding the words to tell the stories they create. And they do it for two reasons. One, for your enjoyment, for other people. And two, because they have to. Because writers write. That's what they do. We will write, even if you don't read. And that's just sad. Ask yourself the questions. When is the last time you spent a couple of hours in a library or a bookstore reading nook, or just sat in your favorite easy chair or at the beach or anywhere else and read an actual novel? Reading keeps your brain sharp. It keeps you interested in ideas and life, And if you're lucky, in concepts and thought patterns that expand your mind because they're not your own and they are not part of a political pap echo chamber that bounces your own half-formed beliefs back at you. Reading is fundamental, as an old promotional message taught. It requires sustained attention. And from that foundation comes the ability to take in and examine rich and complicated concepts, and to improve your comprehension and your ability to incorporate and symphonize, if you will, words into the music of the mind. Pick up a book. Heck, I've written a few novels. Critics tend to say nice things about them. I'll have more of them up on Amazon too. But this is not about me or an attempt to sell you a book. Read the writings of our founding fathers. See how far our own language has fallen. You know, I once marveled at a single sentence written by John Adams that took up almost a full page. Yes, it was run on and wordy and plodding, but it was also rich and vibrant and full of meaning and direction. But it was work to read it, I got to admit, and the experience of it still lives inside of me. I just thought of it. I'm glad I read it. It was worth my time to work my way through it. Praise to Rose Horovich for writing that article. Rose, I appreciate it. I really do. It was a terrifying pleasure to read. So to each and every one of you who are within the sound of my voice, as they like to say, please pick up a book and enjoy it, because you will. I guess that'll do it. Thank you for dropping by, for tuning in today. Sure hope you'll come back. Bring some folks with you. You have given me a little bit of your precious time. I recommend spending some precious time with a book right in front of your eyes. Read the words. I appreciate it. Hope you'll pop in from time to harleycarnes.com. You can find the podcast on Spotify, X, Facebook as well. I am Harley Carnes. Until next time, do yourself a favor. Make good, conscious choices in your life. Make a decision to be happy and fly safe. It is the only way to get there.